What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Arman Tsarukyan not happy following UFC 324 news. Last night, we uploaded a video about the new UFC 324 fights that were announced during the NFL halftime show. And before we continue, make sure to leave a like on this video to help support the channel. For those of you that missed, we don't blame you. It was a very late upload. Anyways, Dana White revealed that Paddy Pimblett and Justin Gaethje will be fighting for the interim lightweight title.
Obviously, you just saw Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett for the interim title. Earlier, Topuria posted, I'm dealing with some personal problems, so I'm not gonna fight the first quarter. So the winner of Gaethje versus Paddy will be the interim title, and then they will face Topuria.
This is confusing considering multiple things. For one, Justin Gaethje has been threatening the UFC saying he'll only take a title shot next, but we're guessing he was cool with the interim title too. Also, where does this leave Arman Tsarukyan, the #1 contender in the division? Seriously, Arman was ranked #1 prior to his recent win, and then put on a dominating performance at Qatar that still didn't get him a title shot. Dana does not like Arman for pulling out of UFC 311. Anyways, Arman reacted to the whole situation on X, writing, "Make it make sense." Honestly, you have to feel bad for him because now he has to fight another opponent while being ranked #1 again. Not only that, if Ilia Topuria does come back around spring 2026 like he mentioned, he won't fight again until fall of 2026. Can Arman wait nearly a year for this whole situation to play out? Ariel Helwani also went off on the whole idea of Arman getting passed up for the interim title during his YouTube video.
An interim title fight, by the way, that does not feature a #1 contender. Because the #1 contender at 155 pounds is a guy named Arman Tsarukyan, and he's not involved in this fight. And of course, the champion Ilia Topuria is not involved in this fight. This is a makeshift fight. This is as prestigious as a BMF title. God bless. I said I wanted to see Paddy fight for the belt. God bless. I said, Justin, I think you need to win a couple more. He said he was going to retire unless he got a title fight. I guess he's not retiring. He's fighting for an interim title. But this is a bogus fight, and it's insane to me that it is headlining over Kayla Harrison versus Amanda Nunes.
As for Paddy the Baddy, he's been having a field day with this news, considering the ongoing feud between him and Arman. As soon as Dana announced the news, Paddy posted a video on Instagram hyping up the fight, and in the middle of the video, he had a picture of Arman crying. And then he went on X and wrote the following message to Arman: "You like apples?" It looks like Paddy is going to have support from Conor McGregor, as he reacted to the fight by writing, "Come on, Paddy. John Jones fires back at Daniel Cormier again." Yesterday, we reported that John Jones responded to DC in a video where he projected his comments about being without friends and family on Thanksgiving and wanted to say he loves everyone who is without friends or family on the holiday. Well, again last night, John responded directly to DC in a video where he sang a song about him living in a rent-free mansion in Daniel's head. He also went on Twitter calling out DC, writing, "Imagine a man getting his kicked, and years later, he's still pondering how I spend my holidays. Brother, that's not a concern, that's a long-term rental, utilities included." Looks like this might have reignited the beef between the two, but most likely DC will come out tomorrow and react by saying that he was wrong and he should not have concerned himself with John's actions on the holiday. UFC updates. It was reported yesterday by Dave Meltzer that the UFC will be starting its pay-per-views 1 hour earlier than before under the new Paramount deal, because Paramount wants to capitalize on the East Coast viewership as much as possible. He posted on Twitter writing, "UFC will be starting pay-per-views 1 hour earlier starting in 2026, 9 p.m. Eastern. Paramount wants maximum viewership on the East Coast. The later start time was because West Coast sports bars thought 6 p.m. was too early for their business." Damon Martin also posted the official start times for UFC 324 prelims and main card. As we just reported, the start time for the main event will be 9 p.m. Eastern time, and the prelims will start at 7 p.m. Eastern, with the early prelims starting at 5 p.m. Eastern. If you're a hardcore fan and watch all the way from the beginning, be ready to start an hour earlier. It was also reported by Marcel Dorff that Atiba Gauthier will take on Andre Pulev at UFC 324. Gauthier is 4-0 in the UFC, all of his wins coming KO or TKO. His most recent win at UFC 320 over Tristan Vines, where he won by TKO in the first round. Pulev is 2-1 in the UFC, his most recent fight being a win over Nick Klein, where he beat him by TKO from body kicks in round 2. This is an interesting matchup for the up-and-comers of the middleweight division. Alex Pereira also posted another cryptic picture on Instagram, showing him with 2 UFC belts and the caption that says, 2 + 1 = 3. Shama. Fans are speculating that he's hinting that he is moving up to heavyweight to claim a belt in 3 divisions. But the issue here is that Jon Jones has been calling him out to the White House. But in order for Alex to claim the 3rd title, he would have to fight the winner of the Aspinall vs. Gane rematch. So only time will tell what he means by this caption, 2 + 1 = 3. Dana White receives backlash for UFC fight. Earlier in the video, we mentioned the whole Arman Tsarukyan situation. But unfortunately, that wasn't the only controversial fight the UFC made according to the community. We also reported yesterday that UFC 325 will be 1 week after UFC 324. With that news, Dana also revealed that Alexander Volkanovski will be rematching Diego Lopez for the featherweight title. The two first fought earlier this year in April. Since then, Lopez picked up a big win over Jean Silva, and Volk was sidelined. After Dana made the announcement, the MMA community was not happy with this matchmaking. Why is everyone mad, you may be wondering? Well, it's because a lot of people felt Lerone Murphy and Movsar Evloev deserved to fight for the title, considering we already watched Lopez fight Volk. After the news, Lerone Murphy reacted on X, writing, "Missing the opportunity to fight one of featherweight's GOATs is what hurts me the most. It's not about who's the best anymore. It's about who's most popular." Former UFC fighter Cub Swanson reacted to Murphy's comments, saying it's always been like that in the UFC. It's just fighters don't notice until it happens to them. Movsar Evloev then went on X and wrote the following message to Murphy. "Lerone Murphy, I will give you the opportunity to fight the #1 contender. Tell your people you're ready to fight me on the same card as the championship." And randomly, Murphy took shots at Evloev following these comments. Apparently, Murphy knocked out Evloev in training, or something along those lines, and has been teasing this video for some time. Well, he posted a screenshot from that video with the following message. "Since the guy wants to be disrespectful, I shall share some content with you guys. Never forget." So yeah, all of that happened after the news dropped between Murphy and Evloev. But anyways, back to the main topic. After the Lopez fight was announced, many people were not happy with Dana White and the UFC for this booking. Here were some reactions. "I agree with Lerone. Even if I didn't get it, him and Movsar for sure should have been the guy. Movsar got passed over by Lopez once, and he gets another opportunity for gold, lol. Fair play to Lopez, but you can see why guys start to lose love for the game. Cold world. It's sad to see, especially as athletes that work so damn hard and not knowing if you'll be enough to get your rightful opportunities. All I ask is that the fans let their voices be heard. Again, I don't blame Lopez for taking it, just like the first title fight, but it's and has no respect for the rankings or merit of earning your keep. They tried to deny Merab, and now they love him. Give guys a chance because you never know what they be. It's 110% not what it used to be. I ride for the company, but this issue is beyond frustrating. I get their point of view, but stop saying we give the fans the fights that they want to see, and we make the best fights the best. It's way more frequent now, and extremely hard to ignore, especially at your weight class. I have no clue what UFC is doing anymore. They booked Paddy versus Gaethje just to make sure Arman doesn't sniff a title shot until 2027. Then they announced Lopez versus Volk to block Lerone Murphy or Movsar Evloev from getting their shot. The matchmaking is straight sabotage. What the Volk hasn't fought since Diego has only one fight, and sure, it was a good performance, but Silva was like number 11. Genuinely doesn't make sense, especially considering the first fight wasn't even that close. Dude, this might legitimately be the worst title shot in UFC history, a completely fraudulent rematch. But guess is, this is Volk's retirement, and they want to send him out on a win. Only thing that makes sense to me. Don't often get vexed by fight matchups, but Volk versus Lopez 2 is the most obvious example of you weren't supposed to win last time, do it again, I've ever seen. They're trying to set up a post-Volk champ that's fun, and Lopez is all they seemingly got. Shameless. 2 undefeated contenders, but let's go with the guy that Volk just beat. Pathetic, lazy matchmaking. I'll tune in, but zero anticipation for this one. Do better, UFC. Now this right here is an absolute disgrace. They just hoping one of the greatest of all time gets knocked out or something. I like Diego, but he just got outclassed by Volk for 25 minutes. Yes, great win over Silva, but that doesn't really mean get thrown in for the rematch like this. What did Volk do, man, to be treated like this? It should have been Lerone versus Movsar, who are on win streaks and haven't fought for the title yet. Big I like Diego, but this makes no sense to me whatsoever. Both literally just fought. Are UFC that desperate for Diego to be champ that they'll keep rematching him until he wins? What about Movsar and Lerone? A new matchup would have been much more interesting. Look at the UFC making fights that nobody wants to see. Nobody looked at that 4-1 decision and thought, I want to see that one again. And nobody looked at Paddy Pimblett and Justin the Duck Gaethje and thought, yeah, let's make that an interim title fight. #1 contender is Arman. Abysmal dog for a guy who got 50-45 to be granted an immediate title shot. Just terrible in every single way, pretty much. Murphy would have been excellent here. Evloev would have been deserving. Abhorrent decision-making. The hardcore fans will get tired of watching number one contenders getting passed over and stop watching. One win gets you a second title fight in a division with two undefeated contenders. With multiple ranked wins? Makes no sense. If this wasn't on Paramount Plus, I wouldn't bother watching. They made Volk sit out 10 months just to have him verse the guy he beat again. What is this matchmaking? We literally just saw Volk fight Lopez and he won convincingly. Volk is older and won't be around for much longer. He can't be wasting his time in rematches. He should be fighting fresh contenders like Murphy. Murphy versus Movsar is the fight to make now since this rematch is happening. This is a type of title fight that will make people question Volk's legacy in 10 years, LMAO. Bro is so overrated. All his title fights are rematches or fighting washed old the Korean Zombie and mid Ortega. Volk reacted to the backlash online during a YouTube video. Volk said that he feels like Movsar Evloev and Lerone Murphy deserved the title shot more, but the UFC decided to give it to Lopez.
It was a bit of work involved. Obviously, we all know that I wanted to fight earlier. I wanted, I thought it was going to be December. We thought, Lerone Murphy, December. I guess UFC, and they were waiting for Jean Silva and Lopez. Then they were saying Lopez, and we're like, obviously we're like, we just fought that guy. Is there more deserving people, whatnot? But everybody knows that I'll fight anyone, right? So whoever they put in front of me, I'll do. But then it was looking like it wasn't going to happen. But then it did happen, which was great. Again, I thought, it was a Movsar deserving, Lerone Murphy. I thought they were the two guys. They're the guys I called out. UFC really won Lopez. At least everyone knows they're in for a treat. With your Movsars and Lerones, they're probably, they're more deserving. But are they going to bring the fight like Lopez would? I think the fans are going to appreciate the fight that me and Lopez are going to have.
MMA community goes off on Ilia Topuria for being fake. Yesterday, it was announced that Cristiano Ronaldo is a shareholder in Way of Warrior FC, which is an MMA organization that Ilia Topuria is a part owner of. Well, Ilia welcomed Ronaldo on Twitter by writing, "Welcome to the family, Cristiano." Now, while all this seems fine on surface level, fans dug up an old clip of Ilia basically saying that as long as Messi exists, then it's, quote, Ronaldo. In the interview, Ilia said, "The person I'm going to invite personally is Messi because he lives in Miami, so Cristiano as long as Messi exists." This caused the MMA community to go off and call Ilia out for being fake, only supporting CR7 now that it involved a company that he's a part owner of. They claim that money changes people, and it's no different now for Ilia. Here's what they had to say. It's true when they say money changes people. You see how Ilia is on his best behavior as soon as Ronaldo put money in his pocket. Give him a break, bro. He is a McGregor cheap copy. Remember that Ilia is a Valencia fan and that had interviews before he became famous and just switched to Madrid for clout. Definition of a hypocrite. This guy. Nothing worse than a lame who's got jokes to tell but then want to turn around and start begging it for clout. Shake my head. He's turned the people who applauded his talk into clowns. You disrespected him in favor of Messi? Now you're his mate because he's investing money. We don't know you, buddy. Cristiano Ronaldo always has the last laugh.